Dutch Parliament has a fellow named GEERT Wilders. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but he's got a new movie out. Wow. There's a lot of hype about it. A lot of Muslims are posting about it. It's a bunch of clips, a few Quran quotes, and then some clips that someone could have very easily made off YouTube, just taking little video segments together for this short movie. There's nothing fresh, new, interesting, or insightful at all, and I'm wondering, why does everybody even care about this? They say when you sell something in advertising, you're not selling the steak, you're selling the sizzle of the steak, which is that ethereal thing you can't really touch, but it's what gets people interested. This guy sold a lot of sizzle with this movie, and he was able to get Muslims to advertise it for him for free, because everybody was talking about how horrible it was going to be and how they didn't want it out. So the Muslims basically did all the free advertising for this guy's movie. He talks about these Muslims, these horrible Muslims, being a growing minority, which is an admission that it's a minority. It's a small group. There's also a growing majority happening. Everybody's growing. It's what people do. They grow. He calls Islam retarded. He's not aiming to offend anybody. He wants to make a separation between the religion and the people. He has no problem with the people, he just has a problem with the religion. Well, newsflash, if you have a problem with Islam, you have a problem with the people of Islam. You know, in a couple thousand years, Islam will evolve because it's an immature religion. I know many Muslims that are completely evolved as any other human I know. How can they be Muslims and be fully evolved in their faith if their religion is still 2,000 years behind? So what is it that we're missing? If there are some people living 2,000 years ago, I don't think they're living 2,000 years ago because their book's so old. I think they're living 2,000 years ago because they don't have any plumbing. They're living in the Stone Age. It is a culture clash more than anything. But that's not a culture clash against Islam. It's a culture clash against a group of people who are living in a different world. I think his biggest mistake is not recognizing that there is a radical Islam and that there are Muslims of all types. There's a full spectrum. And when you make the choice, the conscious choice, to lump everybody together, you do a great injustice to the majority. So what he's doing is he is attacking a lot of people. And the overwhelming majority of who he is attacking and offending are innocent. And anybody who goes around attacking massive scores of innocent people to get at a small minority of guilty people, I call that terrorism. He says all that the Muslims have to do is to accept our values. Well, let's not be so tolerant to their intolerance of us. We have to be more intolerant to their intolerance. I think being intolerant to someone's intolerance is a fair deal. But is that really what's happening? And then he calls the Quran a fascist book. You know, that's just name-calling. Here's his advice. It's time to get rid of the book. 1 in every 4 people on the planet is a Muslim, and he's gonna put some YouTube clips together in the hopes that we're gonna get rid of the Quran. Come on, that's not his goal. So then you start going further into the interview. Then he starts talking about, we've been dialoguing or trying to dialogue with these people for decades. Now we're going to try a new way. Not dialoguing, that's going to be a new way. Didn't work for the Bush administration. And as he gets a little further, all of a sudden his interview starts changing. He starts talking about immigration and how we pamper immigrants. And I go, wait a minute. This sounds like a nationalistic hate speech. I thought we were talking about the Quran. Now, all of a sudden he switched the topic to immigrants and how he doesn't seem to like these Muslim immigrants coming in. So now all of a sudden it's like you get this high government official who just seems like he's got a problem with the immigrants, and he's spun it into a nationalistic hate machine, and people are buying in is what it looks like to me. I guess there's one good thing. If you keep posting negative stuff about Muslims, in time, the Muslim community will get a little more desensitized to it, and they'll be less likely to have knee-jerk reactions and get so angry because that's just the way it is, and then people will start laying off. I could see that maybe having the benefit. After watching this video, it became pretty clear to me that this man's focus seems to be one of hate and exclusion. I'm not saying he's a bad person, but what I'm saying is he's getting an audience. Not unlike, I don't want to compare him to Adolf Hitler, who got an audience for hating Jews. Anybody who rallies that nationalistic call to get rid of the people who are less than us, you lost me there. And the little indicators that you're off track is when you're name calling and you're using that hate speech and you're being mean and cruel. The people who have a revolution for us to hear about are the ones that are speaking about openness and fairness. And you can be firm when you're fair.